everyone, welcome to Deadline Day. Not that much has happened, but I'm joined by Adam and the Love Rope, as I'm nicknaming it. Liam, how's your wardrobe, Liam? You not got one?
Nah, I just live in this now.
We've got HITC scarf guy. You can be the cardi guy. Right. Thank you very much, lads, for joining us. We're going to recap the whole of the transfer window, just for thoughts on the signings, incomings, outgoings, and a little bit about today. It's been very quiet. Time of recording, by the time this video goes out, will be 9 p.m. But yeah, very, very quiet. We expected it to be quiet, of course. Mr. Keith Downey was talking this morning about it going to be a quiet day, and he wasn't wrong. He wasn't wrong at all. Adam, are you surprised that it's been quiet?
No, not at all. I think when he got the main signings over, Wilson, Fraser, I think we all pretty much knew that was going to be it. He came out in his press conference the other day. He didn't try and get anyone's hopes up either. He was pretty honest, said unless it was a mouth-watering deal, he wouldn't be going into the market again. I'm happy. I'm happy with the squad we've got going into the season now. Looking at the couple of games we've won, we've got more than enough to beat a lot of the teams around us. So maybe it could have improved. Could have brought in a couple more players. We'll probably go on to. But yeah, it's one of the best windows we've had in a while, in my opinion.
Yeah, considering who our owner is, I have to agree on that as well. We'll get a rating off all years. Everyone later on, what would you rate this? The deadline day. Now, the reason I've got the European deadline underneath is because technically, after today, domestic deals can still happen. So if Newcastle want to dip into the Championship and go and get a Ben Rama from Brentford, we can still do that. Or the likes of Chris Natsu can get out and loan to the likes of Watford or what have you, Middlesbrough. That can still happen. But today, it's all about European transfer deadline days. Obviously, we've got that nice fancy graphic as well. There we go. But Liam, are you generally along the same lines with Adam? That's been quiet. You expect it to be?
I expected it to be quiet. I think we've done with business quite early on. I think it was after we got beat off Middlesbrough, I think came in, and there's been no real big transfer rumours ever since, really.
Yeah. If anything does break, because obviously, as I say, it's 9 p.m, we'll do a separate video, quick one. If anything does go through in the last couple of hours or so, but want to know what you're saying in the live chat. Of course, you're watching a rerun of this. Let us know who we missed out on. Are you happy? Anything you wanted to see get over the line? We'll start with it's sort of like a timeline. The timeline today hasn't been great. Obviously, I've touched upon Keith Downey there, Adam, but the next one that came out was Martin Hardy said that Ruben Loftus-Cheek to Newcastle wasn't happening. Was it ever happening?
No, I would have been very surprised if we got this one over the line. I don't think Lampard. I'd be surprised if he goes from Chelsea tonight. Actually, I don't think he's being linked with anyone in great detail. I think Lampard's a fan of him. I think he's just got his fitness issues. He would have been a real coup if we could have get him. I think he would have given a lot of competition at Shelby, Hayden in the middle. That was probably an extra position I think we did need to go and get. But no, I think he's just, unfortunately, he wouldn't come to a club like ours.
Liam, what do you reckon about Ruben Loftus-Cheek? Would you like to see him come in, or do you think we've got too many centre midfielders already?
No, I don't think we've got enough centre mids, because I don't think Sean and Matty are centre mids. I think they're more number 10s. And obviously Shelby and Hayden are going to be the ones that are starting all the time. So I think you could maybe put Jeff Hendrick at centre mid, but then that's the only real free players we've got at centre mid. So it would be nice to just get an extra body in there.
Yeah, I think if we did sign him, though, you're probably looking at one of the long staffs is probably going to be knocked further down the pecking order. So,
yeah.
And you want to try and get Matty, especially when he gets his fitness, because he's had a lot of fitness issues the last 6 months or so. Wouldn't do him very well if we brought him in. Look, I think it'll improve the squad, but yeah, can't say that one. Another one that was talked about quite a lot was DeAndre Edlin. Was heavily linked, and I seen the one today with Southampton. That doesn't look like it's happening, Adam, but with Yedlin, he's his third choice now? Would you say that?
Second for me. I think he's behind Mankillo. Probably Mankillo for me, then Yedlin, then Kraft. But it wouldn't have been good business to sell him to Southampton or loan him, not to a team who I expect to be around. If we were going to go and give him to Besiktas, who I think was rumored to, I'd say fair enough. But yeah, he has his critics. He's not the most reliable for us, but I wouldn't be going to give him to a Premier League rival. We've been haunted by that in the past. So if he has to stay and be a squad player, I'm happy with that. I don't think he's going to be playing every game. But if we get an injury, if Manquillo gets injured, he'll come in. He'll do a half decent job. As I say, giving it to Southampton, I think would have been a really bad move.
See, I think I'm going to disagree with you. I think Kraft's ahead of him, me. I think Kraft's defensively this season looks a little bit more assured. I think Kraft had his best game for me on the weekend. I know he played two different positions, but I think that's handy now. Kraft's kind of fell into a centre-back role because of injuries last season. He looks all right. Look, I'm not confident with him, but I think he's ahead of Yedlin for me. Liam, who would you pick out after Manquillo?
It's
Well, they're that bad.
Yeah, I would say they both can be terrible, but probably Kraft would push ahead of me for second choice.
Right, I'm getting out on that one. Sorry, mate.
But not
he's going on me a bit. He's going on me a bit, but I still prefer Yedlin at the minute.
Oh, for Yedlin, man, he kind of cross the ball. But the thing is with Kraft as well, when he gets in that final third, he passes back. I don't like that either. He kind of looks for the square pass and passes it square at him, like, get it whipped in. So I want to see more of that with him. But Yedlin, obviously, there was rumours with the Bundesliga. That's not happening because their transfer window shut at 5. So where does he go? I think he'll stay with us until January. Then I think he might head out the door for a small fee because he's out of contract now. But we'll see on that one. Or could you see a loan happening? Do you think he's on too much wages, Adam, to go to the Championship?
Yeah, I can't see unless it's on the top end Championship clubs. But I think I haven't heard many rumours about him today, bar the Southampton one. I think if it was going to happen, we probably would have heard some whispers on Sky or something. But I think I think it's Yedlin who wants to get away to play first team football, which you can't really blame him. But if he has to sit there on big wages, which he's on for the next few months before he can get in January, I'm sure he'll be happy to do that as well.
To move on, the next man was Christian Atsu again. Linked the last couple of days to Middlesbrough and Watford. Liam looks like he's going to be stuck with us, but probably a lifeline is that we've got the 16th of October, a week on Friday. Hang on. Plus, we get him a Championship club. Do you think that's his level?
Yeah, I think we're seeing him when we did play him in the Championship, that was his level. Like, he just seemed to dance past players, and now he just kind of seemed to do anything. I think he did get a couple of assists last season, but he's never going to be the first choice winger over Maximin or Miggy, like, so he's always going to be down in the pecking order. If he's on big wages, we may as well try and get him out.
Yeah, he's going to be missing out in the 25-man squad, isn't he?
Yeah, so if he is missing out on the 25-man squad, then we need to try and get rid of him as soon as possible. Whether that's below or whatever, do you know what I mean?
Well, he was linked to Blackburn. I know Celtic were a few weeks back. Middlesbrough, Watford. I could say that. I could still say that happened. I know we're like, he's still at the club, but we've got that lifeline up until the 16th. Whereas Save, I can't say Save go to the Championship. I think we're just stuck with him in the game. But I think with Atsu, I can see that happening. So I'm optimistic we can get him off, get him away, and hopefully that turns out permanent. Because I can't see it being a big fee if a Middlesbrough or a Watford or whatever one of the promotion sides goes in for him, and it'll be a good level for him. He was brilliant for us in the Championship, but I think it's the right decision to try and get him out on loan. Speaking of that, Saint Save, Adam, how is he still at the club, man?
I forget what year we signed him. How big of a contract did we give him at the time?
Like a 5.5 year deal when McLaren. Well, it wasn't McLaren signing. Don't get me wrong, but McLaren was here. It was Graham Carr. Yeah. Him and Dumbia came in.
I think he's played 8 games in the time he's been here, and it's every pre-season he just seems to come back. Look, it's not like we've had the same manager who's just not fancied him. We've had 3 or 4 different managers now since we've had him. As you say, with McLaren, then Benitez, and now Bruce, and none of them have fancied him for whatever reason. Whether he's not a good trainer, I think he had the good game against West Ham when we did bring him into the team. He scored a free kick, if I'm correct.
Yeah, West Ham. But he was at fault for 2 goals as well.
But no, he's just, I don't know.
Shite.
He's obviously on big wages. Shite. He's not, as you rightly, he's not going to go to the Championship. Clubs around Europe will probably look at him and say, "Oh, I'm not paying you your wages you want." And again, because we made the mistakes 7 years ago of giving out big deals to average players, we're stuck there now. We're coming to the end of it, obviously. Hopefully, we'll learn our lesson. But Yeah, I can't even remember a game he played. To be fair about that West Ham one, he's just flogged us really. And
Yeah, you're right.
all the pictures, he's smiling, training, seems happy to be there. But obviously, just need ambition to further his career by taking a bit of a wage drop and moving on.
That actually seems to be right though, Liam, because Bruce is keeping him in the first team.
Yeah.
Training.
But like, is he just keeping him in the first team because he's got nothing else for him to do though? Do you know what I mean? It's just like, is he just going to be in limbo? So you'd probably rather him keep him in the first team than chuck him in the under 23s. But yeah, like I think you do see he does seem to smile a lot, and it does look like the players get on with him. So he might just be one of them that's just there for the crack, really.
I mean, I would be if I'm picking up 35k a week.
Yeah. I think that's the thing. That's the thing you've got to consider as well. Like, would you not rather just sit on the bench on 30 grand a week than drop down to 10 and play football because it's still free? I would definitely do it. You know what I mean?
I didn't even get that in a year. Yeah. Mad, absolutely mental. How we've still got him. We've still got the other one as well. I mean, how is that Instagram model still at the club? Again, he's still got a year.
I forgot about it.
It's depressing, isn't it? Another one's still got a year left on his deal. It doesn't look like he's going to head out either. So again, it looks like it's a championship club. He's done all right in Sheffield Wednesday, mind him and Aaron's. But again, Adam, you just mentioned it before. Average players getting big wages, and this lad's he's probably played the same amount of games. 10, I think he's played 10 actually. 2 more, woohoo! But I mean, collectively, to think of Atsu, Xavier, Lazar, and Aaron's, that's about 120k a week.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I mean, Atsu's had his uses at times, so you know it's the time's up. But the other 3 players you mentioned, you're talking nearly 100 grand a week we're playing. That's maybe where Bruce is getting frustrated. This is why he's trying to get them out, because we could have gotten a decent loan sign in, whether that be, you know, you look at Villa getting Ross Barkley and Loftus-Cheek. If we had that 100 grand there in wages, we maybe could have pushed a bit more for an extra player. You know, we can't pay the big wages in loan fees, but you know, because we've got these types of players just rotting in the first team. And I say that I totally forgot about him there. He put his picture up. To be fair, I don't even know where he's even back at the club.
Yes, he's just returned because obviously the Serie A finished really late, didn't it? It was like early August or something. And now he's back training with the under 23s. He hasn't played yet, probably he's a bit. But he's back at the club, and again, we'll just hope that we get him a championship club. But yeah, he's an awful signing by Rafa Benitez, and Benitez has got a couple. He's got Matt Sells, springs to mind instantly in Lazar.
Like Gomez, there's a few.
Yeah, he done all right, Gomez. I remember him having a worldie, Swansea away, playing left back. He was brilliant. Roland Aaron's, Liam. It's a case of what could have been, isn't it?
Yeah, if he didn't get his injuries, because I think he was out the whole of the championship season, so I think that if he was fit, he could have been a massive player for. But I think he just needs to move and increase, make his career better. Do you know what I mean? Because he's never going to get in the first team, which is a bit of a shame. So he needs to move on as soon as possible. But then if he's on a decent wage packet, then I would still do the same thing. Just not even just sitting on the bench, just sitting in the house all the time, just getting 20 grand a week.
Well, it doesn't even look like he's back in training because his Instagrams, I haven't seen him many pictures of the under 23s and nothing. Yeah.
But just looks like he's going out for bait all the time.
What's happened to his career, Adam?
Just never kick-started. Injuries haven't helped. I don't think he has the best attitude when it comes to training. I mentioned on one of the shows I was on with Johnny and Sam, I went to the City away game 5 or 6 years ago when he scored the winner against Man City. We beat them 2-0, him and Sissoko, and he was on fire. He absolutely told Man City a new one that day. Maybe have we mismanaged him as well as a club? You know, some of his loans, you look, when we have loaned him out, did he go to Scotland at one point?
He was in Czech Republic as another one.
Yeah, and then I think he went to Wickham last year. The first half of the season, Wickham were top of the league in League One, and he played a lot of games, and then he came back to us. And I don't know. I think it's a bit of both. I don't, has he put all the graft in? But I think we've certainly mismanaged his loan, which we've done with several players over the years as well. We've loaned them to the wrong clubs, and he was once a young prospect. I don't know how old he is now, but it's a shame.
Or 23.
23. I mean, it's still young, but you'd like to think he played some Premier League football at 23-year-old to make it. But yeah, it's a shame because his career just fizzled out. And yeah,
he's been hanging around the club too long for the last 2-3 years. And he, question for you is, who's the best out of these bad four, Adam?
I'll go for Atsu. Again, in the Championship, he did. I wouldn't say he was an important player, but he did step up on the odd occasion. His only issue is being given chance after chance to come into the team and show what he can do, and he just never has. He's so frustrating to watch at times. And so he's meant to be a flair player, but if he does move on, he's the one out the four I'd wish best of luck to. But out the four, yeah, he's the better one.
Liam?
I was going to say Atsu as well. I think it's just because we've probably seen him more regularly. Obviously, Orlando Aarons hasn't played in probably for 4 years since we went down. The season went down because I think he played quite a lot then. But I haven't seen much from the other two. Like, I know Lazar got a couple of games in the Cup and won the Championship, but I think that was about it, and he wasn't any good then. So,
I'm going to say Aarons because I've got this thing with Johnny and I kind of back down. So I'll say Aarons is better than Atsu, and I'll not buy down on that because I think Aarons is better going forward. Atsu's just Atsu, isn't he? They're all dreadful. Let's not kid ourselves. They're all just sitting around collecting big wages. But the thing I want to highlight is that if we effectively can get them out on loan, that's their career over, Adam, because they've all got, 1 year left on their deals? That's them done.
Yeah, I'd say they've been done for quite a few years at Newcastle, to be fair. What can you say? The last few transfer windows, we've expected to get rid of them. We just kind of shift them. And hopefully the club's learned a lesson in handing out big deals to players that haven't scouted properly. Because then there certainly weren't, the homework wasn't done on signing some of them.
Well, the Savetti was definitely like a panic buy in January, wasn't it? It was under McLaren. It was definitely a panic buy.
Well, we all thought Dumbia was going to come in and play some games because he's got a great goal scoring record. Didn't he? Thought, we're going to be fine. He'll bag with 5-10 goals. Barely got a kick. Got a kick as on McLaren. Gans to show you. But that is the fringe players. Obviously, they're still hanging about. Hopefully, some of them get out on loan because that's effectively their careers over and done with. Because they've only got a year left and we can get some of them wages saved. How that money could be put aside for a player to potentially come in January. A couple of the under-23s before we talk about Rodrigo Vilca, then we'll talk about the big signs like Callum Wilson and so on. Out of these 6 lads, we've got Jake Turner, Mo Sangare, Tom Allen, Lewis Cass, Elias Townsend, Tom Watts. Any of those, Adam, who you got your hopes pinned on?
Young Tom Watson's Cass. I think if they knuckle down, could have, give us something to think about in the future. Cass, he's dropped down to Hartlepool level. Probably could have played a bit high, to be fair, but it's going to be a physical season from where he's going to learn a lot. He got man the match on his debut Saturday. And Watts is going to play a lot for Argyle this season. So I just hope we just don't mismanage these youngsters because we have actually got some good young lads coming through. But we've got to manage them correctly.
Yeah, for me, probably echo that. Watts, I would like to say do well. I think big things of him. Made his Premier League debut. Happy to go out on loan. Happy to learn his trade. I like that. Tom Allen, big season for him. If he can try and get into double figures, 10, I think that would be a great season for him. But Liam, what's happened to Sorensen? He's had 2 disappointing spells out on loan. We thought this is the next big thing. And bizarrely, he's gone to the 2nd Dutch division, which even Brandon doesn't even know hardly know about. So, I mean, is he dropping or does he need a season where he's going to bang in 20?
I think you've got to maybe look at it like he just had a very good season when he scored. That was it, 23 goals in the Premier League 2. That's what you've got to look at. Did he just have one very good season and that was his flash in the pan and then that was him? Because he's been back at the under-23s now for a while and he hasn't really done an awful lot. So, and he didn't really do much on loans as well because I think he probably got 4 games across the 2 loans. So it's like if he was good enough, he would play, but he's clearly not good enough.
Yeah,
he's never going to make the Premier League.
It's taught him a lesson playing in first team football and kind of getting 5 minutes here and there. It's not great for his development, but also people might say it is because he's getting taught a lesson how to play men's football in a professional environment. But we'll hope all 6 of those lads I've just mentioned there do well. We'll keep an eye on the socials throughout the season with them. Of course, we're still waiting for the announcement, possibly of Bradley Cross, South African young lad who's currently on trial at the club. 3 of the under-23 lads do follow him on Instagram. We'll keep you up to date on the socials with that one, of course, because obviously he can be signed after the window. Nell Brookwell, of course, has signed from Liverpool. He signed earlier on in the transfer window, scored on his debut in the 2-2 draw. Got a giant neck, hasn't he? Scored on that.
I was going to say.
He's a tall lad. Scored on his debut against Middlesbrough. So, yeah, so under 23s. And obviously Florent and Delcio as well. We don't know what's happening with this one. 23-year-old, scored that wonder goal. We'll keep you up posted with Florent and Delcio. I know Allan Saint-Maximin will definitely want that one to definitely go through. Of course, the big one, which was announced tonight, which is I say it's a big one, Adam. He's a prospect, isn't he, Rodrigo Vilca?
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to watch your video yet, Lee, to be honest. And I've just seen stuff on the socials about him. Obviously, Solano, everyone knows on Tyneside. You know, I think really what you believe. I don't know if he recommended him or spoke to him about it. If he becomes half the player Nobby did, then, you know, hopefully we've got someone on our hands. South American, you know, they've got that bit flair about them sometimes, a bit unknown, you know, if he is to come into the first team at some point this season, if there's some injuries, there's not going to be a lot of managers know about him. But yeah, I always like when we sign someone South American. You never quite know what you're going to get. You're either going to get someone who's lazy as fuck or really going to step up. So we'll see.
He's either going to be the next Solano or the next Diego Gavilan, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly.
Youngsters will have to Google that one, who he is. Liam, Nobby Solano was saying don't expect too much from him. Obviously, we now know that he's obviously going to be with Chris Hoggs on the 23 sides. But Tim Vickery, who was always on TV shows, Sky and BBC, is the South American expert. He's actually quite surprised, quite shocked that Newcastle have gone in from a very small fee of $250,000. Very good left field, isn't it? Just come from nowhere, innit?
Yeah, I think I put it in the group chat earlier. It's a very bizarre one. Like it's clearly probably one of these YouTube things where they've seen these highlights and like, oh well, we'll just stick it 200 grand in fame or whatever the fee was. But yeah, it's quite bizarre because he thought if he was good enough, some of the bigger clubs would have signed him by now. So
yeah, just close your eyes and type in the keyboard. Oh, he's good. Lee Charney's scouting for you. But yeah, you've seen him pictured in the taxi earlier on. Rodrigo Vilca is delighted. He expressed that he's gone through the motions. He didn't think the deal was going to happen. Then he found out it did. COVID struck. Thought it wasn't going to happen. So he's mentioned he seems like a bit of an emotional lad. Obviously, when he's played his last game for Deportivo, I can't pronounce the second name, Municipal, I think it is, Municipal. He was crying when he substituted because he knows that was his last game. But yeah, we wish him well. Of course we do. We want all of the youngsters to progress, whether they're from the local area or they're from the continents. Please let us know what you think of Rodrigo Vilca. We do hope he goes out and smashes it. And the second part of the video we're going to talk about was just with transfer window in general, to be honest with you. I want to bring up, before we talk about the incomings that have recently come, is the outgoings. Of course, we've got Freddie Woodman, Dan Barlaser, who's left permanently, Flo Lejeune and Yoshinori Mutu. Adam, are you disappointed we didn't sell Mutu?
Yeah, but again, it'll probably come back down to big wages. Just want to quickly get him off the books, can't structure a deal. He's just another player who just seemed to sit there. I remember him scoring a goal at Old Trafford, and then I don't remember him kicking a ball after. So it was for both parties we had to get rid of him. But for some reason, all these players, and this is going back years, mate, not just this. We always just seem to be able to loan players out, let the value drop down. Probably the club's hoping he goes in the, where does he go, the Spanish league?
Yeah.
The Liga, and hope maybe he's hoping he gets 10 to 15 goals, which is valuation up. I can't remember how much we paid for him. Did we pay about 10 million?
9.5, 10 million.
Yeah, it was 10 million.
If he can go to the Liga and score 10, 15 goals, someone's likely to probably get our money back. Whereas at the minute, if we did just go and sell him, it probably wouldn't get half of it back.
Yeah, came off the bench the other day, but Mutu I would like to see him try and just get down because he's just collecting. Again, with some of the lads we mentioned earlier on, he's just collecting a wage packet for nothing. And there was the rumours that it was his English. I'm not having none of that rumours when Benitez was here. Not having that. Not indeed his English. It's about his ability. But then again, we didn't really see enough of him. So love to start against Leicester. He always played against Leicester for some bizarre reason. But Florent June, Liam, Sam thinks he's the best defender at the club. If he is the best defender, why is he out on loan?
I would say he was the best defender. I think when he's done his both knees and he's looked very slow and sluggish. He was very good at passing the ball, but then after he's done his knee, he's slow. So it's not what you need. So hopefully he comes back and regains some of his form that he did when he comes back at the end of the season. Obviously, he's got the two goals against T-Rex Arms, so that's probably why everyone likes him, to be fair.
T-Rex Arms is doing wonderful things at the moment.
Yes,
no.
Darlow for England #1.
Darlow played for Wales. His granddad played for them. So, but he's allegedly turned them down a few years ago, which is a bit of one. But yeah, going back to those four lads again, Freddie Woodman, for me, obviously, how long do you wait though? That's the thing. Because he's been out on loan, and again out on loan. I think this is it. He's got to come back now whenever Swansea make that permanent. Swansea definitely wanted him, got him out on loan. Darlow's obviously signed a long-term contract extension. Gillespie's on probably 2 or 3 years at him. What do you do with him?
If he's going to come back, he's going to want to be #1 after playing first-team football in the Championship. Is he better than Dubravka? Not yet. Would I start him ahead of Darlow and Gillespie? Probably I would. I know Darlow's playing great at the minute, and that's an argument. He could be #1, but I'm thinking long term for the club. I like Freddie Woodman.
I said this towards the end of the season. I said, get rid of Darlow. He had a year left before he signed the contract extension. Get rid of Elliott, make him #2, and then he'd be happy to play the odd cup game.
Yeah. And I think he pushed Dubravka there that bit more. We'll see. There's probably a transfer fee in this loan deal with Swansea. If Swansea get promoted, they can buy him. But I just think if we do sell him early, he'll go and do some good things. But
another Fraser Forster.
Yeah, that type of thing. But I'm a big fan of Dubravka as well. So. It's a good problem to have, and I say Darlow's playing well, but I'd certainly look at bringing Freddie Woodman in the first team for next season. I wouldn't do anything hasty and try and sell him. I mean, Dubravka's getting on same age as me, but Freddie Woodman's quite he's still young. So.
Last one then. I'm disappointed about Dan Barlays. I think you both know that because of sentimental values and so on. But I done the video on it last week, and it was the right decision, wasn't it, Liam? I am sad to see him go, but very, very close to getting in that 25-man squad, but no cigar, isn't it?
Yeah, I didn't expect him to sign with him permanently. I thought he was just going to be on loan. It's bizarre. I think it's bizarre. It's a bizarre one from the club, because I didn't understand why we're playing him in the cup and then to sell him on's a bit naff. But if he wanted to leave and get first team football, then fair enough. But yeah,
didn't he? I think he was saying he wanted to stay and make it as a first team footballer, but Bruce has obviously pulled him aside and said, unfortunately, I said a few weeks ago it was either him or Murphy for the last position for the 25, and unfortunately Dan's missed out and it's gone on to Rotherham, and I think he'll play in the Premier League in the next 5 years. He's too technically gifted. Probably needs to work on scoring some goals and what have you. But yeah, best of wishes of Dan Barlaser. Let's talk about the good stuff. Who's your favourite side, Adam?
Oh, it's got to be the new centre forward, Callum Wilson. He's completely changed the way we play and that we can actually score goals now. I look at the 2 open play goals he has scored so far. It just screams out of what we've been missing. The one against West Ham, the ball came in the box and he was just there to put it in. And the one on Saturday against Burnley, yes, a simple goal, but that we've been missing that for quite a long time now. Yes, Maximin does the great work, gets the ball in. Last season, you've got Gillespie on the halfway line, nowhere near it. Andy Carroll's not going to be in that position. Dwight Gale doesn't have that quite awareness. So I just think him coming in now to have 4 goals already for 20 million, I just think it's a great bit of business for us. I think the only thing missing is the fans there. He hasn't experienced that, the atmosphere of the ground yet. It would have been bouncing from on Saturday if it was a full ground. But yeah, I think he's one of the best bit of businesses in the entire transfer window, not just for Newcastle, because I think he'd walk into most Premier League teams outside the top 6.
Yeah, he's got 4 and 4 in the Premier League. He's only played that extra game because he was brought on against Newport, wasn't he? But 1 assist, 4 goals, seems to be the penalty taker, which is what I like. Greedy strikers want to take the penalties. Didn't give it the midfield. I'm having the confidence, and obviously the confidence at Burnley on the weekend. Liam just casually clipping it down the middle. That was a bit of a pressure cooker, and I think for me, movement. I know it's simple. It just gives us movement. Obviously, you can talk about Allan Saint-Maximin, of course, that helps, but Joe Litton's quite static, and don't get me wrong, Joe Litton's played a little bit better on the left the last few games, but the movement, man, is just, and he's lightning quick. It's what we've lacked for years.
Yeah, I think he's improved the team massively. I think he's took the pressure off Joe Linton, and it's obviously helped Maximin have a player that actually knows how to play as a centre forward. Because if you look at his goal against Burnley, Joe Linton wouldn't have been there. You know what I mean? So Maximin's probably missing that way. He can actually put the ball in the box and get assists.
Torture goal. West Ham one. Look at the West Ham one.
Yeah.
It's
good. I think it just relieves the pressure off everybody that they've got a person that can go out and score goals, because the main centre forward got 2 goals last season. So
is he your favourite? Liam, is he your favourite signing?
Definitely. So far this season, yeah, definitely. I think he's made a massive impact.
Okay. Let's move on to Jeff Hendrick. To be honest, when we signed him, I was like, I'm not that keen on this, to be honest. But someone throwing it back at me and said, is he better than Bentaleb, paying 80k a week and paying nearly 10 million? So then I flipped it and thought, yeah, you've got a point on that. Already scored a great goal against West Ham, got an assist, featured in all the games in the league. Shrewd business, Adam?
Yeah, I was quite critical and got a bit stick for the signing initially. I thought we should have maybe been looking a bit for a bit better quality player. But he's come in, and I still don't think he's great quality on the ball. But what he's proven to us, he is giving us 100%. He's playing them on, he's played a couple of games on the right. He can play centre midfield. He seems to be enjoying playing for us. And I think he's going to be involved in most games this season. I've been pleasantly surprised, happily be proved wrong. But for a free transfer, as you say, better than Bentaleb. I think, the Longstaffs are struggling to get ahead of him. I'm not sure at the minute if his best position is the right in midfield. I'm not. I still need to see a bit.
Yeah, maybe that. Because I don't like him there. I think he does an all right job if it's like you're trying to grind a result out away to a Liverpool or a Spurs or you know what I mean. I get that, but when you're on the attack, you've got to give that to Fraser. You've got to give that to Saint-Maximin in that position.
Even Murphy, I'd like to see a bit more Murphy. I don't want Murphy, sat on the bench all season. When he gives us a bit more attacking than Hendrick would. Yes, if that's where Bruce wants to play him, then that's obviously where he sees him. He sees him training every day. But I just when we sent him, I thought he was going to be more centre midfielder, and it doesn't seem to be the case at the minute.
Yeah, I want to see him have a run out in centre midfield, and again, competition is what you want because Shelby's, Liam, he's very hit and miss at the minute. Where would you like to see Hendrick? Would you like to see him play through the middle?
Yeah, because that's where he's been playing most of his career, hasn't he? And I think it's only been the last season or so he's went on the right hand side. But then is he not? What is he? What type of player is he? A centre mid? Is he like a Hayden where he's a ball winner, or I've never really watched him at centre mid, so it's going to be interesting what player he is.
Box to box, isn't he?
Is he box to box? So
doesn't chip in a goal.
Yeah, you got to think, would it actually work with him and Hayden? Because it's always probably going to be Hayden over anybody else, isn't it?
I would probably say so. The next one I want to talk about, because I think it's, if you think Callum Wilson's a great buy, I think Fraser is, to get him on a free and not pay a single fit. Yes, I know he's coming back to fitness, but he scored on his debut against Blackburn, chipped in with assists. And I looked at that starting players. He's really played 5 games. He actually has. So he's played in quite a few, and obviously going away playing for Scotland for a couple of games, I think that's a good thing because he'll get his fitness up. But I think for me, that has to be right up there. If he's not top, he's got to be second for best buy. I know it's not a buy technically because he's free, but pace, man. And he was brilliant, not last season, but the season before Adam. Top assist, and that link up with Wilson was frightening, wasn't he? And the likes of Liverpool and Arsenal were really strongly linked to him.
Yeah, he had a poorer season for his standards last year for Bournemouth. Obviously, left under a bit of a cloud. But again, I agree. I'm excited to see him. I still don't think his fitness levels are there. I think that's why Bruce has been quite sensible with him. Actually, last thing you want to do is get him in, and he does a bad injury. When he's fit, if Miggy doesn't pull his finger out, he's going to be starting ahead of Miggy soon. I'm a massive fan of Almiron, but Almiron's just not turning up at the minute. Whether that's the tactics he's just not fitting into, but Bruce has got the option now not to play Miggy, which he's proved he doesn't have to. And I think if Fraser's fit, Fraser's going to come in there, and I think when Fraser gets a good run of games, it'll be hard to take that spot off him because I think he's going to be quite consistent for us. And he won us the penalty on Saturday as well. So he's getting involved when he is coming on. He's not just coming on and settling into the game. He's coming on and trying to make a difference, which is what we need coming off the bench. We were under pressure in that game. It was 2-1. We hadn't won that, and he came on, gave us fresh legs, won the penalty, game over. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing him a lot more this season.
Yeah, same. I mean, I'm very, very. I think Sam's the same as well. When they're all fit, and you've got that front four of Wilson, Fraser, Miggy, and ASM Liam. For us, I mean, we haven't had nothing like that for probably a good few years. I'm excited. Are you?
Yeah, I think it's going to put a lot of fear in the defence because you're going to have to be. They're all very, very quick players, and most they were quite skillful as well. So you're going to have to be on your game all the time. Do you know what I mean? For the last couple of seasons, it's just been hit Rondon or try and hit Joe Linton. So I think it's going to give away a different dynamic of what we've been used to the last couple of years.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Really, I'm hopefully all excited to see how all 4, if they do start. But then again, it gives us competition for places off the bench where you can bring on Fraser, you can bring on Miggy. It's what we haven't had. Even when we had Rondon, Perez, and Almiron, we had nobody on the bench. You look at your bench, think, oh, you've got Chris Natsu. It's just squad depth is what we've lacked, and we've got a little bit, not fully. Don't get me wrong, but I think we've got a little bit. Speaking of squad and depth, again, bit of a shrewd business. Perhaps some people might look at this a freebie, bringing him home. Gillespie, 3 appearances, conceded 1, which was that horrible error, which nearly put me out the cup. And he's got 2 clean sheets. Surprisingly, 3 games. I think, Adam, if Dubravka was fit, he wouldn't play any because Darla would play the cup games, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he's the local lad, obviously nice to see. Enjoyed his debut against Blackburn. Had nothing to do against Morecambe, and the first real bit of work he did, he absolutely fluffed it in that shot against Newport. But as you say, that happens to goalkeepers. Everyone remembers a goalkeeper mistake. It's happened to the best keepers we've had at the club. But he's number 3. He's not going to play many games for the club when Dubravka's back. I didn't. I think Rob Elliott was quite injury prone. Rob Elliott had been at the club 10 years, so it was a big call to get rid of someone like that, who brings, knows the club. But they brought him in, it's kind of criticise him too much,
Liam, would you have kept Rob Elliott?
Depends what his wages were on. Because if you can reduce your wages for a 3rd choice goalkeeper, then why not? Because if they're not going to play, then you may as well try and penny pinch sort of thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, he still hasn't found the club. Rob Elliott very well because he's still living up on Tyneside. Well, I say Tyneside, it's North Tyneside, isn't he, on the coast? But hopefully Rob Elliott gets a club very, very shortly. But yeah, Mark Gillespie's trying to push for Darlow. I think I agree with Adam. Now we know. I think 4 weeks ago I probably would have said maybe joint second and fighting against each other. But Darlow's rightly won number 1. And there is some things on Facebook. I think, was it one you used? Or was it Brandon posted today about Darlow being... Would you keep him in goal? Was that you, Liam?
Yeah, it was me. Like, I think with Darlow's recent performances, you've got to say, would Dubravka come and just walk straight in? Do you know what I mean? Unless Darlow makes a mistake, Dubravka shouldn't get in ahead of him.
Adam, where do you stand on that?
Dubravka's number one for me.
Just walk straight.
Yeah. Obviously, if he's fully fit, don't risk him if he's not fully fit. Dubravka's. I like Darlow's done well. You know, he can't fault me. He has made some great saves, but I think if you put Darlow in over 38 games, you'd see more mistakes than you're going to see from Dubravka. I just think Dubravka's a massive player for us. When we're under the cosh, which we are quite a lot, Dubravka's saved our arse a hell of a lot of times. Like,
I would probably agree. Yeah, Dubravka's going to come straight. It's a bit like Saint-Maximin. For Saint-Maximin's fit, he starts. Doesn't matter who it is, whether Almir or Fraser, ASM starts. He's the best attacking player for me, without a shadow of doubt. The last man that we signed, probably one maybe for current and for futures, Jamal Lewis. A little bit of a different start, I think. He's showed a little glimpse. Northern Ireland International. Obviously, he's plays for Northern Ireland through his grandparents or parents, one of the two. Big fee, 15 million. Is that a bit of a coup, Liam? 15 million?
Yeah, I would say 50 million is a decent amount for him, but I think he has had up and down performances so far. But obviously, he's still quite young, so I think it's probably going to be a good idea if he sometimes does set out of games. Because if you looked at Brighton, he didn't get any support from Maximum, did he really? And it took Bruce 20 minutes to put Hendrick on the other side. So it's going to be interesting to see how he develops, because it's like you got that thing of, would you put Dummett ahead of him? Because Dummett, you're always going to get a 6 out of 10 performance from him. But like if he's hot and cold all the time, it's like, what are you going to do?
That's why you want his choices though, Adam, because if you look at Dummett's much the better defender than Lewis. I know it's only been 5 games, but Lewis was in a side that conceded a shitload of goals, and Ben Godfrey's just went Evan for a stupid amount of feet a day. Those two on that Norwich side, and Max Aarons, 3 young British players conceding goals left, right, and centre with Tim Krul goal.
Yeah, it's a learning curve for him though. Hopefully they finished bottom of the league, rock bottom, didn't have a great season, but hopefully he takes that experience onto us now. He knows, right, I know not to make them same mistakes again. I think he's going to play a lot of games for us. I think he's got a bright future for us. I've liked him. He had the poor game, as Lee mentioned, against Brighton, but everyone was shocking that day. I think he's going to be our first choice left back all season. Especially
with Matt Ritchie now looking like he's out for a couple of months. But I think with Lewis, I think you're all right. I think we'll see better out of him next season. I think we'll show glimpses of him this season. But my only worry about him is he needs a bit of protection in front of him. Allan Saint-Maximin can do all these flicks and all that, but if he's not got potential, we're going to be ripped apart. The lad needs a bit of cover from me. So you might say even Fraser, because Fraser as a worker potentially start. That's one option. But yeah, overall then, as we wrap up, how would you rate it out of 10? I'll start. I'm going to probably score an 8 out of 10 for the transfer window, considering the takeover didn't go through. We're all flat with arses. We're all pissed off. We're all negative. We're all going to walk away from the club, but we never do, because we love the club. We never do. We say that we do. I've had enough of this shit and all this, but we never. We'll come back. It's like a cheating wife who keeps cheating on you and hurts you and hurts you and hurts you. Not that I've had a cheating wife, but looking at it overall, I'm going to score that an 8 out of 10, considering we're all flat with arses. Got a couple of shrewd freebies there in Fraser, Hendrick, Wilson, great buy, 20 million. We've lacked a goal scorer. The club have recognised it. He's not. Joe Linton's not up for it. We've got Carroll half injured, Gale half injured, Wilson's through. We've covered Rob Elliott. We've solved that left back. Probably would have liked to say right back cover. Don't get me wrong, another centre midfielder, but I'm going to score that an 8. Adam?
I'll go 7 out of 10. I agree with pretty much everything you said, but I would have liked to have seen maybe another centre forward come in. We can't rely on Dwight Gale with his injuries. Andy Carroll's not a goal scorer. I would have just liked to see a bit more cover up front, and possibly when I seen that Villa got Barkley, I was quite disappointed in that. I thought that was a good signing for them, and it showed last night. But yeah, I'm really happy with it. As I said, everyone was that some of the pre-season games, everyone was down, dreading the season. But they've getting their heads together. They've bought the right players in the right position. So I'd say it's been one of the better ones we've had. So yeah.
Liam, over at you.
I was going to say 8, but then you said 8, and then I was going to say 7, but then Adam said 7, so I'm going to say 7.5. I think for 35 million for the players we're bought in is a bargain. We've got some very experienced Premier League players. I would have liked to seen a centre mid come in, just to change it up slightly, because we know what we'll get with the long staffs. You know what you get with Hayden. You know what you get with Shelby. It's sometimes it just doesn't work. Like if Shelby's not spraying them balls about, he's just a dead weight sometimes. And obviously both long staffs really on centre mid. Centre mid for me the more attacking midfielder. So I would say 7.5. Out of 10.
You made a good point there. If you think about those 5 signings, they're all British and Irish, and they've all got, maybe exception of Gillespie, but the 4 first teamers that will play.
Yeah.
Have got Premier League experience, which we have lacked. Went in the market, bought foreigners who've never played the game, and some of them haven't settled. Some of them took a long time to settle. Granted, ESM was an exception last season because he was brilliant. But it's a key point that, though, at a minute, the club have recognised, and look, the club scouting's been horrendous over the few years, but they've recognised this, and it's a core of British and Irish players.
Yeah, I don't give him much credit often, but it comes down to manager for me. Bruce I think he's identified that he wants that. He wants more British and players in. They do fight for you more. They fight for you more in the Premier League. We know that. They give you, they know what the club's about. And I think, that's what Bruce has. He's gone to Charlie and Ashley and says, that I don't want foreigners. I don't want to be going for your Torvans or, the players we've wasted down the years who may be great in a French league. They come over here and it just doesn't work for us. This season we couldn't gamble because it was a tricky season, because if we bought wrong and went down, it was gonna harm us really long term this year. We've done it before. We're still, as you say, with some of the players we've discussed earlier, we've still got them on the books. So Bruce, to his credit, got every signing right. And I'd say hopefully in January, depending on where we are in the league, he's got his targets and we can go out and get 1 or 2 more.
Right, before we just quickly wrap up then, we've got a squad. We know it now. Granted, it's 1 or 2 might leave, Fringe players. Liam, where we're finishing now?
12th, like I said at the beginning of the season when I got ripped to shreds on the social media, so I'm going to go 12th again.
Ripped to shreds on social media? Hey, that's not new.
Yeah.
Adam?
I'll go 11. 10 or 11. Yeah, 11. It's going to be one of them seasons where we have the result against Brighton and everyone's down, everyone's wants Bruce out, and then we're going to have a result like we did against Burnley where I think we're going to, win and lose about the same amount and finish mid-table. I think that's going to be that type of season.
I'll probably go along with that mid-table, but I think we'll be a lot more clearer of the relegation because I think we'll have more points this year. I'm expecting probably 7 or 8 points more, but to be more comfortable and maybe on the outskirts of Europa. I don't think we'll get Europa League, but we might be within 4 points, 5 points, different stages of the season. We won't quite get there, but I would agree. I think we'll finish somewhere between 11 and 12, maybe in between the old grave years on that. And that is it. If there is any more breaking news or any free agents that do sign, of course, we'll cover it on the socials. We'll jump back on YouTube tonight. We don't think that'll happen. We think we're wrapped up. Rodrigo Vilca is the headline today. And obviously we'll wait in the next few days to see if any of the Fringe players leave. Adam, Liam, thank you very much for coming on.
Cheers, Lee.
No worries.
Enjoy your night, everyone. Bye-bye.